crumbed lamb cutlets with a Herby tomato sauce. It's a ripper of a dish and it's very quick to make. So we're going to start with our tomato sauce. We need to add 1 clove of garlic to a pot, and I'm just going to roughly chop it and bruise it also. You don't have to be too pedantic with your garlic here. Just run your knife through it a few times, and we're going to pop that into a pot with some extra virgin olive oil. So we want about a tablespoon of the oil, and we've got that on a medium to low heat. You don't want it to be too hot because it will burn our garlic. So just a nice medium heat, and then in with our garlic. I'll add a pinch of salt at this stage. And just let that bubble away while we prepare some olives. So a generous amount of Kalamata olives. I've removed the pips out and we're just going to chop them again quite roughly. I love the saltiness of the Kalamata olives. Give them a really good chop and just make sure that you take those olive pips out because you don't want to come across one of those. Okay, now we can add our tomatoes. Now use good quality Australian tomatoes. These are crushed tomatoes. I've actually been out to Goulburn Valley to meet the families who grow and process these beautiful tomatoes. They taste fantastic, and it's amazing to see how these tomatoes are picked and processed within 24 hours. Now you can see that it's just coming to the boil now. I'm going to add another pinch of salt, some freshly cracked pepper, and I like the addition of some chili flakes, but you can leave it out if you're making it for the kiddies. And our Kalamata olives, they can go in. Another pop of saltiness, good old capers, so about a tablespoon of capers. You know, really bold flavours here, which all go nicely with our lamb. And then just to balance the sauce, a tablespoon of caster sugar. And now I like to allow this to bubble away for about 10 to 15 minutes so it becomes even more rich and thick. In the meantime, let's get on with our lamb cutlets. So I've got about 6 or 7 lamb cutlets here that have been Frenched by my butcher. Frenching just means that they've cleaned the bone, so they look like gorgeous little lamb lollipops. In one bowl, we'll add our eggs. And you can add some milk to this if you like, but I'm quite happy just to add a splash of water just to loosen up the eggs. And every stage I like to season it. Not overdo it, but just a little bit of salt so we can taste it throughout the crumb. So break those eggs up and give it a really good whisk. Excellent. And in another bowl, some flour, so just plain flour. And I always like to set it up just to make it much easier in the way we're going to go down the line. So we start with some plain flour, then the egg mixture, and then finally the crumbs. So we'll start with our lamb cutlets in the flour, shake the excess off, then into our egg mixture, which is going to act as the glue for our crumbs. Now before I continue, I do want to add another pinch of salt, so that goes just in with our crumbs. And then we'll pop our little lamb cutlets in. Give that a bit of a squish so it's all coated. And that's the first one done. So I'll continue these, then we can start frying them up. All right, I'm on to my last little lamb cutlet. Now I've been preheating my pan. I've just got some sunflower oil in here, so I don't want anything that has quite a strong flavour, so a neutral oil. We're going to cook these for about 2 minutes on each side or until they're golden brown. Okay, the lamb cutlets are ready to come out of the oil. Look how great they look. And you could put these on some paper towel, but I prefer to put this on a rack that's in a tray. By doing this, we're going to allow these just to cool down slightly and become even crispier on both sides as opposed to one. Now we need to season this just with a little more salt. Always best when it just comes out of that oil. and they are ready to go. So we'll just let them rest for a moment while we finish off our sauce. So it is a Herby tomato sauce after all, so I have a generous handful of a variety of herbs, some basil, so we're just going to pick that off the stalks, along with some tarragon. I love the anise flavour of tarragon, so 2 sprigs of that. And really, you could use just one of these herbs if you like. Or if you're lucky enough to have a garden full of herbs, use many of them because it just tastes so fresh and goes really nicely with the lamb that's slightly fatty. Okay, last herb is some dill. And I'll grab my knife. We're just going to gather all of these herbs together and just roughly chop this, not too fine. We don't want to be pedantic. Great. Okay, I'm going to bring my sauce over here. Look how rich and thick it is. That's what I'm after. I don't want it to be too runny. I want it to be just like that. So while it's still warm, we're going to sprinkle in these fresh herbs, and to give it a little zing, some sherry vinegar, just a splash, and a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. Look at that. Smells fantastic. So we're going to add a generous spoonful of this sauce onto a bowl. Just a shallow bowl like this. And I'll grab a few of these little cutlets and we'll just nestle them in on top of that sauce. Some lemon, a cheek of lemon. Pop that on the side. And that, there my friends, is a very quick dinner celebrating lamb and tomatoes. They love each other and I can't resist. I've got to have a taste of this. A little dip in that delicious tomato sauce. It's everything you want in a crumbed lamb cutlet. Crispy on the outside, juicy in the centre, and with that tomato sauce, absolutely superb.